Well, hello and welcome to the Movie Paradise. I am your host, Nathanael Molnár, and this is the next installment in our wrapping up 2018 editorial series. Every year here on the Movie Paradise, once the year comes to a close, we like to come up with some of our lists to talk about the year that was. We talked about the most surprising films of the year, the most disappointing films of the year, favorite films, least favorite films. We rank the comic book movies, and we talk about our most anticipated movies of the coming year. And I am joined here with Rob Giachinta. Rob, thanks for being here.
What's up, man?
So, and this is our least favorite films of the year. We're talking about the movies that quite didn't do it for us. But before we get into our list, I want to start off by saying that there is, every time that people start doing the wrapping up of the year lists, and there's this ongoing debate about whether or not worst lists should exist. And so I just wanted to preface our list by kind of bringing this up a little bit. If you listen to my Film Thoughts episode, I talked about my personal opinion on worst lists and how I think I can see where some people are coming from when they say they don't like them and that it's ignorant towards creators or whatever. But I also gave the other side, in which that I feel like if film critics and film reviewers cater too much to the creators when talking about film, it doesn't allow for film reviewers and film critics to be as objective as they possibly can.
Also, how do you expect films to get better over time? Like, how do you expect these filmmakers to get better if you're just coddling them and telling them, oh yeah, that was good, that's when it's not really good, and then they keep doing the same crap. I think as long as there's constructive criticism, it will help these directors get better at making movies. I
think we have even been at fault sometimes of kind of going overboard and trashing people, and so that's why I want to move away from it.
At least for us, we actually, like, these like high-profile critics, they get free screenings. They see it. We actually have to pay money to see these movies, so I feel like there's a little bit of different there. Like, if I'm not happy about it, I paid money, so I think I deserve a little right to complain. Yeah. Not go after anybody personally.
No, you have gone over Ruben Fleischer many times personally.
We have beef, that guy.
He's on the list. He doesn't even know who you are.
He'll know.
Soon enough. So that's why with this, I've been wanting to do this for a couple of years, and we finally did it. We're calling this our least favorite films of the year, because I think that, one, I've always kind of referred to the best list as our favorite films, because that's what they are. They're our favorite films. They're not the best movies of the year. They're what we would call our favorite films of the year. So we'd always called it favorite films of the year and then worst films of the year. So just for consistency, it makes sense. Favorite films, least favorite films. So I think that hammers in the idea that this is all of our opinion. We're not trashing the people who made this film. Obviously, when I say I thought Aquaman sucked, I know that there were hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people who went into making that movie. But my job as a film reviewer, and my job as an independent film critic, is when I think a movie sucks, to say that a movie sucks. And I'm not going to change my opinion just because I know, like, that there were people involved in making the movie. I will acknowledge that, and I will say I'm glad that those people got work and that they were paid for their work and they were able to provide for their families and whatnot. But I thought the movie sucked, and I'm going to say the movie sucked, because if I don't say a movie sucked when I thought it sucked, then how can you take me seriously and how can you trust anything I say as a film reviewer? So
don't make a worse list.
But we will make a least favorite list.
Okay.
I can handle that, because at least you're stating your opinion up front. Alright, so let's get into least favorite films of 2018. So how this is going to work is we have 5 films and 3 honorable mentions. So how this is going to go is Rob will say his 3 honorable mentions, or dishonorable mentions rather. I'll say my 3 dishonorable mentions. You'll do your 5 through 2. I'll do my 5 through 2. And then we'll say what our least favorite film of the year was. So Rob, why don't you kick us off with your 3 dishonorable mentions?
All right. So my third dishonorable mention is the little action film Hunter Killer. This is a movie that stars Gerard Butler, everybody's favorite action star.
Oh yeah, great guy. Geostorm. Yeah. What a brilliant motion picture.
Does a lot of straight to DVDs, and this should have been one of them, because this movie was incredibly boring. I took a very long nap during it. there was nothing that stood out about this movie with other action movies. There was was the action horrible? Not necessarily, but definitely didn't stand out at all. The acting I thought was very poor. You had Gerard Butler, who I don't know if he's trying his best or whatever, but it wasn't that good. Gary Oldman is giving a ridiculous performance, and Common as well was giving a ridiculous performance. And then all like the side characters are no-name actors that you don't know, and they're all hamming it up. And it was just it felt like a movie that came like straight out of the 90s DVD $5 box. It was just a waste of time.
And what the hell is that name? Hunter Killer? That's such a stupid title.
It was what the hell was it's like the name of like a sub-squad. Submarine
we are the Hunter Killers.
I don't know.
You're either a hunter or you're a killer.
You can be both.
You can be both, but if you hunt something and you kill it, you're a hunter and you're a killer. I feel like it's kind of redundant.
I don't know.
The implication when you hunt is that you kill. Unless if it's specified that you don't kill when you hunt. But
you should have saw the movie. You would have loved it.
Yeah, I didn't see this piece of shit.
Hey, we're not supposed to trash movies.
All right. I didn't see this how I might perceive it as being a piece of shit. So this is one that
Fuck that movie.
There's a couple. I think there's a few on your list I haven't seen.
You probably haven't seen most of these.
All right. Whatever. What's your next honorable mention? Dishonorable.
That would be Mile 22.
Ooh. Another one I didn't see.
A movie that was on my most disappointing of the year because of Peter Berg and Mark Wahlberg, who delivered 3 A-quality films, in my opinion, with Lone Survivor, Deepwater Horizon, and Patriots Day. But this seemed like they literally just got drunk on the set and just had
in your opinion, they got drunk.
and just had a ball or whatever the hell. But the movie ended up just being there was no likable characters. There was a lot of bad acting, especially from the girl from Walking Dead, Lauren Cohen, I think that's what her name is, and Ronda Rousey, who should not be in movies. Please stop it.
I'm done with these. I'm sorry, a little side tangent. I'm done with these wrestlers going into acting. I'm sorry. There's a couple. Obviously, The Rock is great. I think Dave Bautista is good in certain roles. There's a few others, but John Cena in Bumblebee, get this guy out of movies. I don't care. Like he was really good in Trainwreck in that one role. But get the guy out of the fucking movies.
I don't mind. No,
and get Ronda Rousey out too.
Comedies, he's fine in. Anything else, forget about it. But anyway, and then there was just a lot of shaky cam action, and while there were a few good scenes, I thought it just nothing.
Yeah.
It was all few and far between, and it was long too, and just a loud, obnoxious kind of movie with a line at the end where one of the main villain says to Mark Wahlberg, like, I don't know if you've seen the SNL with Andy Samberg being Mark Wahlberg, when he's like, "Say hi to your mother for me," but like the guy says like, "Say hi to your mother for me." It was really, don't see it, please.
When we had like one trailer for that movie come out, and like it wasn't even that good of a trailer. I could smell it.
Yeah,
I could smell that one coming. I could smell it, and I'm glad I avoided that shit. So, what's your next honorable mention? Last one.
My last one is Aquaman, a film that I'm assuming will be involved in.
Oh yeah, I will be talking about this film.
Aquaman was a CGI bloated mess of a superhero movie, something that seemed like it was made a long time ago. It seems like it's not with today's superhero movies where we actually have actual character depth and good acting and good performances and good CGI. This had all the opposite, I thought. You had bad performances, bad direction, bad screenplay, just
James Wan!
The only thing good about this movie, like you said, was the world that they built out of pretty much nothing, which I like, and
now that this movie's making
I want to see a sequel, but I don't want James Wan back. I want someone else.
I don't. This. All right. It's later on my list, but I'll talk about Aquaman now. I don't know. I don't know because James Wan. I think we all agree James Wan is a great director. He is a great director. So what? Are you going to get another great director? Like, I just don't understand. I think it does come down to the script.
Yeah.
And I think maybe he was tonally trying to go for something a little cheesier, a little hammier. In my opinion, sometimes that can work for me. But in most cases, I don't like when movies go in that direction. Okay. So I see, they have all the right parts. I think you have a brilliant cast. The cast, excellent cast. You have a great director.
Really?
You have what?
Excellent cast. I don't know. Some of the actors
Amber Heard, great actor.
What?
Amber Heard's a great actor.
What the hell have you seen her in?
A few things.
What?
Nothing.
Yeah, exactly. She stinks.
She can deliver.
That's it. She stinks. I'm sorry.
Willem Dafoe. Nicole Kidman.
Yeah, she's good. The guy I thought played Manta was really bad, though.
Well, okay. I don't know because
and
we
Dolph
haven't.
Lundgren's no Thespian.
Because I think the role he was told to play the role that way. So at least I haven't seen him in something else where to see what range he has. But I think that I can't necessarily blame him for that because I think that's what the role called him to do.
He's gonna be in Us too.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting to see. And
him
I think Jason Momoa could work as Aquaman.
I don't know. What it is about him, but I just don't like him to be like I just don't find him believable or charismatic. Like I find someone like The Rock, I don't think he's the greatest actor in the world.
Yeah,
he's enjoyable to watch on screen because I think he has a certain charisma that I think Jason Momoa is trying to gain as well, but I don't think it works.
I think if they just went for a purely get rid of all the comedy that they're trying to do, I think if they were going for a pure kind of badass action gritty.
You wanted them to take Aquaman seriously, but then you throw in ridiculous scenes with octopuses playing the drums.
I thought the whole point of casting Jason Momoa was to make people take this film seriously, make people take the character seriously, and then they're doing fucking when he's calling the fish, they have the sound effects from the Super Friends TV show to or whatever when he's summoning the fish and he's in his classic costume and I felt like the whole point of casting him was you might as well have gotten
Adam Sandler.
Yeah. You might as well have gotten Patrick Wilson. He to go for the classic blonde look Aquaman. You might as well have just done that. I don't know. I think they kind of shot themselves in the foot. I think if we were given the Aquaman that they promised us. Well, that they alluded to by casting Jason Momoa and it looked like the direction they were going in. If they gave us that Aquaman, I think Jason Momoa could be very serviceable. I just don't think the comedy worked for him. I think he was great in action scenes. I don't think the action itself was anything to write home about. No. But I think he can hold himself well in an action scene, and he can deliver on that. But as soon as he has any of these moments of comedy, I didn't buy it. And in the dramatic moments, I didn't think he was anything great in. So
bad movie.
I will say it was a bad movie. A lot of people are probably screaming at their phones or whatever.
I don't.
Yeah.
Too long, too.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that's a 2.5 hour.
Cut that thing down a bit, please.
Especially if
you're going to suck that bad.
All right. So, moving on to my dishonorable mentions. My third one is one that we talked about on our most disappointing list, Upgrade.
Oh, wow.
I don't get why. There are movies that come out where people like it, and I can kind of understand. I feel like this was a year specifically where there were a few films that came out, everybody loved, and I just don't get it. And I have a bunch of them on my list. Upgrade was one of them. I thought that movie was bad. I thought it was straight up bad. I think it had some redeemable qualities, and that's why it's in my honorable mentions as opposed to actually on my list. Because it did have some redeemable qualities, but I just thought it was a bad movie. I didn't think it was written very well. I didn't think Logan Marshall Green was any good in it. I thought he was bad. I hated that they were trying to make him like a jokey kind of... They tried to make him Spider-Man almost.
Throw in
Deadpool. Yeah, I don't need him throwing in one-liners every time he's kicking someone's ass. I just didn't see what everyone else saw in it. I thought technically it was a well-made film, and they did some cool things with it that I appreciated, but I never got into the story. I never bought into the characters. I thought a lot of the dialogue was laughable. I just didn't like this.
Yeah, poor script was a main reason for that film's downfall. There was just some... And the acting too. I just thought the script and the acting was the downfall.
Cool premise. I like the premise and I like the story, but
it did a better job with that premise than Venom did. I'll tell you that.
I will agree with that. But it's I did not care for Upgrade at all. Moving on to my next one is another one a lot of people liked, but I didn't. Game Night.
Oh yeah,
I thought
that
this
was not good.
I'm sorry. I thought this movie straight up sucked. When I saw it, I think I chuckled maybe once, and I was reading people like, "Oh, well, wasn't Jesse Plemons so funny?" No, I didn't think it was funny.
I did think he was funny, but the rest of it I really didn't like.
I think there were some cool stylistic things that they did to try to make to incorporate themes of like board games or whatever, which I thought was cool, but that wasn't going to save the movie for me. This movie did not make me laugh. And I think that is one of the most important things. And if you're watching a comedy and nothing's making you laugh, everything else becomes insufferable. The characters become insufferable. The story, like, I just didn't buy into anything, and I really didn't.
I thought it was really well directed.
Yeah.
But the jokes just weren't funny to me, so like I didn't get that much enjoyment out of it. That's the problem.
I just sat in the theater. And
it was clever,
like,
but just not
most of the
funny.
movie.
It kind of.
That's a great way to put it.
I
it was
compare
a clever
this to
film.
Sausage Party, in my opinion. I
thought Sausage Party was
a lot funnier, but I find that movie more clever than it is funny, even though it does have some good funny moments. This one, not really, but this movie I definitely think it was a clever movie, just not, the jokes just didn't work for me. So
I'll agree with that. I think that's a good way to put it. I think it's clever.
Yeah.
It's a clever film, and I definitely like some of the stylistic choices that they made. It just wasn't funny. And my last honorable mention is one.
What is it?
We just talked about it, Aquaman.
Oh.
So I'm not going to go into my whole thing about it. But yeah, that's my last honorable mention. So, Rob, why don't you take us through your 5 through 2?
All right. Number 5 is a movie I'm sure is on your list, and that's Venom.
Venom.
A movie where its trailers were absolutely gross and disgustingly bad, in which the last trailer pretty much showed us the whole movie.
Yep.
And everything we didn't see in the trailer was even worse.
Essentially, yes.
And another kind of like Aquaman, bad performances, wasted talent,
and everyone
much.
went nuts for it.
Yeah. At least that had a 20 on Rotten Tomatoes though, so someone was on our side.
But
Aquaman still has a fresh review.
How the fuck does Venom make $850 million, and how does Aquaman close in at $1 billion?
This is what it scares me. If these movies are making more than someone like the MCU films, these movies made more than Ant-Man and the Wasp, right?
Yeah.
Ant-Man and the Wasp, I didn't think it was great, but I thought it was fine. Yeah. It was good. I'd rather watch a movie like that than these movies. So I'm afraid they're gonna start making all the superhero movies like this, and then I'm gonna be gross.
I feel like Marvel's always gonna do their thing, and they're
good. The only ones I'm sure
confident in.
Everybody else's superhero movies, I have no faith in, to be honest.
This is why, honestly, I'll never root for a movie to fail, but I wish Aquaman failed.
Agreed.
Because
I wish Venom failed too.
Because now they're gonna continue in this direction that I don't like. And now I feel like DC's going to be emboldened to do, let's just, instead of, I think they should have reboot the DC, now, DCU,
I agree with you now.
And now they're going to be like, Aquaman made $1 billion, alright, we're going to keep going. And maybe Shazam is good, and maybe Wonder Woman, I have more hope in Wonder Woman than anything else, but maybe they actually make some good movies that I like. But if this is the kind of movie that's going to embolden them to keep going, and this is their Iron Man that sets the template for what's to come, I don't want nothing to do with it. Same with Venom.
Yeah.
I feel like there is potential for a Morbius movie and potential for a Kraven the Hunter movie and all this stuff that they're wanting to do. Is there potential? Yes, there was potential in Venom, but if they make their movies to tonally fit with what came with Venom, I don't want anything to do with it.
Agreed. I would. Yeah. I was excited to see a Venom movie, but the team that they put together and the movie they ended up making was really bad.
Yeah, they should have gone for a gritty R-rated horror drama thriller. Mm-hmm. That's what it should have been. Get rid of this.
They tried to make it like a buddy cop kind of movie. It's just I
don't want that.
God, I just
and the comedy doesn't work. Get rid of, this could have been a really cool, if they really embraced the horror element instead of going off into this goofy, whatever. I thought it was terrible.
The CGI was gross.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That was such a awful experience sitting through that.
Twice for you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like an idiot.
Right.
Well, don't see it.
Right.
I'm sure you did already.
Yep.
So my number 4 is another movie I'm sure is on your list, as we saw it together, Slender Man. This is a movie where I feel like I kind of feel bad for whoever made it, because you can honestly tell that I think there was a lot taken out of this movie through either maybe like the studio or just because of that whole like controversy behind it, maybe because I know they weren't allowed to show certain scenes in their movie. But this movie totally feels like there was stuff taken out of it, and the movie is really bad for that fault. There's so many just...
We were cracking up laughing.
Yeah.
And people in the theater were getting annoyed with us.
Yeah.
They were laughing. It was like...
And it stinks because I think this was another movie that I thought was pretty well directed, too. There was some... in my opinion, I thought there was some really creepy imagery, and like the effects I thought were all pretty good for the most part too. It's just the dialogue given to the characters was very wooden, and the performance, it was all. But another thing was like you never knew like who the main character was in the movie. Like it always like you'd think it was this one character, and then like it would change to this, and it keeps switching and switching, and by the end like a side character ends up like narrating the end for you, and you're like, well, we barely even saw this character. Like, I hate when they do stuff like that.
That shot where the boyfriend's face
that
starts
hysterical.
Shaking, that was honestly one of the funniest moments. So when we were in the theater, we were laughing throughout this movie, and like I said, people were getting pissed at us that we were laughing. When that scene happened, the entire theater erupted in the laughter.
Oh my god!
And laughing like for like a good 5-7 minutes. It was.
This is one movie like I'm glad no one else went really and saw this, because I don't think it made a lot of. And it also, I think it was just too late also to bank on this, and there was so much controversy over it because of. But I never really fell into that controversy, because as long as like this character was created before that whole thing. So as long as they
the girls who killed themselves,
as long as they were just using this as just a.
Yeah.
And they actually have like a good movie with it, I think people would have.
And how many movies come out that are based around tragedies?
Yes. And I think if as long as it's handled with some respect, I think it'll be fine. But people went up in arms about this.
See, what I think their biggest problem was, they shouldn't have just made a horror movie with Slender Man as the villain. What they should have done was made a movie about the phenomenon of Slender Man. How this thing comes out that like petrifies so many people, causing all these suicides and murders, and I think that's the more interesting story. That's more interesting than just making a regular horror movie.
Even if they just made a straight like actual feature of the documentary that came out, that could have been pretty interesting. And it could have been like more of like a drama than an actual horror movie.
That's what I would have been more interested in. I feel like just making a traditional horror movie with but it's Slender Man as the villain, so now we're gonna get all this money. Like I just thought that was the wrong direction and the least interesting way to take it. So, yes, Slender Man is later on my list.
Agreed. It stunk.
Yeah, it did. In our opinion.
And number 3 is a Netflix movie. I know you didn't see this one. And it's from the love of my life, Adam Sandler. I love the guy. I really do. I've always have. He's been one of my childhood heroes. And I know everything I hear about the guy, he's one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. Always giving back to the fans. And what I do appreciate about him is he makes his movies for his audience because he loves his fans. And there's a certain...
if he loves his fans, he wouldn't make these movies.
Well, there's fans of him that love these Netflix movies. They generate a lot of viewers. Why do you think that he keeps getting allowed to make them? I think he could be doing more, but there's a lot of people that like these movies. And also, another thing I appreciate about him is he always has his friends back. He's always involved. He's always got... That's what I like watching about his movies. The one thing I like
because they can't get work anywhere else.
I know, but like I just love that he's just always looking out for his friends. Like that would be like
he's their sole employer.
That would be like you if you were like a director, always hiring your butt, making sure they were employed. Like not giving.
Yeah, but imagine if you were a working actor and I kept hiring you and stuff, but literally the only thing you did was my stuff because you couldn't get work anywhere else. Well, what else is Kevin James doing?
They still got money on the table, though.
Yep.
I mean, they're still getting a living. I mean, you're probably not getting the most respect, but anyways, the movie is The Week Of, and
all that to say.
And it was just a dumb slapstick
Can
comedy.
we just have a reserve spot in our worst list for the next Adam Sandler Netflix film every single year?
I think it's all the last like couple of years, like it has been.
Oh, great!
But yeah, Adam Sandler is basically playing like a dad of of this woman who's getting married to this guy, and his dad is Chris Rock, and they have to. He's like really rich, and Adam Sandler's family's like really poor, and tensions clash, and they all have to stay in one like house for like a week, and like it just dumb gags, and Steve Buscemi plays a ridiculous character.
Okay. Of course he's in it.
And I did honestly like laugh at a lot of the stuff because of how outrageously bad it was. Mm-hmm. But I have to say,
you weren't laughing with it.
I have to say this was not a good movie.
That's one I very much skipped.
Yeah, you don't need to see unless again there are a lot of big. I will always acknowledge there are a lot of big fans of Adam Sandler and the comedy he does.
See, here's what bothers me is that I feel like Adam Sandler knows that what he's doing is shit. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's one thing if he believes in his stuff and he thinks it's great and he's putting it out. That's one thing. I think he knows what he's doing is shit, but he doesn't care because he's making money, and that's what bothers me. Because he could do better, he could make better films, he could put in more effort, but he knows, if I put in just a little bit of effort, I'll make this much money, as opposed to putting in more effort.
It's kind of like the Aquaman thing. Like, that movie made a lot of money, so they might be inclined to make more movies like that. These movies, they generate a lot of viewers, so, why would they...
For Netflix. If you put out any of these Netflix movies in theaters, no one's going to give a flying
Agreed,
fuck.
That's why he doesn't have movies in theaters, but he has his market, and he's doing what...
Well, because I think there's a lot less risk of watching something on Netflix than it is going to the theater to see it.
I know, but he's successful at what he does now. And I also like that he still is taking dramatic roles, like what's the one on Netflix called as well?
Merowitz Stories.
That, and he also has Uncut Gems, a movie that I'm very excited for. So I feel like as long as he's doing a little bit of dramatic work plus his Netflix stuff, I'm okay with it.
But if you put in the slightest bit of effort, even those Netflix movies could be awesome. Look at how much viewership he gets and how much money he makes off of The Week Of or Sandy Wexler or any of these, and they're complete garbage. Imagine if he made a Netflix film that was awesome, and it was the next great Adam Sandler comedy that everyone was raving about. Do you know how much more money he would make and how many more viewers he would get?
At this point, I think his comedy days are done. It's just...
But if he came... Everyone loves a comeback story. If he came back with the next Billy Madison or the next Happy Gilmore or made the next big Adam Sandler comedy that everybody loved, everything that he's making now and all the viewership he's getting now, double it.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I think people...
Because I think there's a lot of people, and then I think this even affects his dramatic career, that there's a lot of people, he keeps putting out shit after shit after shit, and people more and more are turned off by him. And then when he goes and does something like Merowitz Stories or Reign Over Me, you don't know how many people I've told about Reign Over Me, and they're like, Adam Sandler in a drama? No, forget about it. People just think he's a joke. Does he have his fan base? Yes. It's a small fan base, but most people, if you stop them on the street, you say, what are your thoughts on Adam Sandler? They'll probably say, he made some good movies 20, 30 years ago, but he's a joke now. I don't take him seriously. And then when he does do something that people should take seriously, like Reign Over Me, which I still contend he should have been nominated for an Oscar over Will Smith for Pursuit of Happiness.
Well, would he have been lead or support?
Lead. I would have said Adam Sandler for leading performance.
That's close. I feel like if they were really... It would kind of be like Mahershala Ali in Green Book, where like he's kind of the lead, but they would stick him in support. That's what if I was the studio, that's what I would do.
I'm just saying, I think he absolutely deserved an Oscar nomination that year, and probably the reason he didn't get it is because he's Adam Sandler. And nobody watched his movie.
The movie wasn't really well received, though.
But his performance, top notch. I'm just saying, I think if he actually put more effort into these movies, and he very easily could, and he built up more of a reputation, and more people saw it, and that they actually took him seriously, he could have a great career ahead of him. But he's settling for making shit Netflix movies that he knows will appease a certain group, and he knows that he doesn't have to put in a ton of effort for them to like the movie. And that bothers me when if a person just isn't good, they're just not good. What bothers me is when they are good, but they're not willing to put in the effort because they know if they don't put in effort, they'll still get decent results. That bothers me.
He has a Netflix special, though. That got like a 92 on Rotten. I want to watch it. I still haven't seen it.
Yeah. So, anyways, that's my spiel on that.
And my number 2 is Happy Time Murderers, but I understand Nathaniel
it comes
has it on his list. So
whoa, we're going to be talking about Happy Time Murders. Oh, yes, sir. All right.
Take it away.
All right, so let's go on to my 5 through 2. My number 5 is a film we saw together. I'm surprised it didn't show up at all on your list. Uncle Drew.
At the time I thought it was okay.
Blew.
With time, yeah, it's not the greatest.
That
film.
movie sucked. The comedy, terrible. Wasn't funny. I didn't laugh at all. I don't think. I didn't get it. It was just ridiculous. It was a PG-13 comedy, and I feel like. Honestly, I say that because I feel like there's a certain tone with a lot of PG-13 comedies where they can't really tell any jokes that are edgy, and so they just settle for shit.
There's a lot of good PG-13 comedies.
Oh, no, there are. When I say a PG-13 comedy, I talk about this certain kind of comedy that can't go for the edgy humor, and they don't know what other jokes to tell. So they just kind of go for stupid, shitty jokes. I don't know. I don't know how else to put it than that. But I feel like I didn't find any of the jokes funny. I didn't get into any of the characters. And I know probably there are some people who follow basketball, so, it's cool to see the basketball players in a movie.
That's why I somewhat, gotten
I don't know who these guys are.
Yeah,
I don't know a single fucking thing about them. So
one of them plays for the Celtics. Uncle Drew plays for the Celtics.
Oh, great. What are the Celtics?
You're Boston Celtics.
I've never watched Celtics before. I don't give a shit.
A movie fan over here.
Yeah, movie fan through and through. Get me real actors. None of this basketball bullshit.
Shaquille O'Neal. He is awful.
Yeah. I wanted nothing to do with this movie. I didn't think Tiffany Haddish was funny.
No, she is garbage.
When I saw Get Out, I love Lil Ray Howery, and I was excited to see him in this movie, and then I thought he was wasted. I
thought Nick Kroll was pretty funny.
He had some decent parts. I don't know. I just thought the whole thing was ridiculous, and I didn't get into it at all. So that's my number 5. My number 4, Venom. We just talked about that. Mm-hmm. My number 3, we just talked about Slender Man. That's my number 3. Nice. My number 2, I'm surprised isn't on your list. Hotel Artemis.
That was a snooze fest, but it just missed out on the. If I had a top 10, it obviously would have been.
That was a bad movie.
I honestly, I don't even know what the hell happened to the film.
Nothing happened.
I fell asleep and the movie was over.
If you told me there was a movie
that
starred Jodie Foster, Jeff Goldblum, Sterling K. Brown, you had Charlie Day in there, you had
Dave Bautista, Sophia Boutella.
Yes.
Zachary Quino.
Yes, keeps going. And you told me you had all those performers in there.
Brian Tyree Henry.
Yeah, you have all those performers in there. I'd be like, where do I sign up? But then you give me Hotel Artemis. Literally,
with a good premise, too.
Yeah, great premise. This could have been like a John Wick kind of thing, and that's what I thought it was going to be.
It ended up being a John Wick ripoff, really.
Yeah. Well, not even... There's 2 action scenes. And 2 action scenes... and they're both like 2 minutes each. The rest of the movie is just walking and talking, sitting and talking, looking and talking. And I feel like some of the characters, like Charlie Day, I love the guy in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He has not really found his thing on screen.
Horrible Bosses.
Yeah, I mean, okay, that one aside. I feel like he hasn't really found his groove on film yet. And I felt like this was just him doing his Charlie Day thing. Which, I mean, get Charlie Day to do his Charlie Day thing.
Or no, Fist Fight.
Yeah, he did that. So
that was a great one.
I hated Zachary Quino.
He was garbage. I thought Jodie Foster was horrendous.
Yeah.
Doing some crappy accent.
Dave Bautista had nothing to do.
Yeah, no.
Sterling K. Brown was boring and bland. So it was just a boring, bland movie that had a lot of potential and could have been something really cool. And I thought it was going to be like a John Wick kind of thing, and it just wasn't at all. It could have been smooth and slick and really cool, but it wasn't. It was just boring and bland, and nothing happened. Like, I don't think anything actually happened from the start of the movie to the end. Like, I think the beginning of the movie...
remember what happened.
Beginning of the movie, they said Jeff Goldblum's character is coming. And at the end of the movie, he comes, and that's it. That's literally the whole movie is the anticipation of Jeff Goldblum's character showing up, and then he shows up, and you're like, okay, what next? And then the movie's over. So this movie, just bland, boring piece. I didn't like it at all. So
it wasn't good. But again, I fell asleep for most of it.
Yeah, no, I unfortunately stayed awake through the whole thing. So why don't you tell us what your number one worst movie of the year, or least favorite movie of the year is?
This was I had to put it in number one, even though I only saw 30 minutes of this before. It was the only movie I walked out of pretty much this year. It was the only reason I was never planning on seeing this movie. I thought it looked absolutely horrendous. The only reason I saw it is I was going to see A Quiet Place that night with a friend of mine, and it was sold out. And it was either between this or Truth or Dare, which that could have also been on the list if I had saw it. So we ended up flipping a coin, and I lost. So we ended up seeing Super Troopers 2. And
I'm sorry.
I know this movie, the first one and the sequel, probably people. There's an audience saying, and people like these movies. I don't know what the fuck I was watching. It was her.
Have you seen the first one?
No. So again, this movie wasn't for me, but this was the one movie where I absolutely couldn't take it anymore. We had my friend turned to me and said "Hey, do you want to get out of here?" Well, it was 30 minutes, and I was like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden, Rob Lowe is flicking some guy's penis, and I was like, yeah, let's get out of it. Just the lowest of the lowest jokes. Just poop, boobs, and dick fart sex jokes. Just, couldn't take it.
That's how a couple of years ago when Assassin's Creed came out, that's what it was like for me. I'm watching it, I was I literally cannot stand any more of this movie. Come to find out, there's another 40 minutes to an hour left of it.
I would have either ended up taking a nap if we didn't leave, or I would have just left and saw another movie if we didn't walk out completely. Yeah, I only know the first 30 minutes, but I'm putting this as my number one because no film did I hate more than this, even though I only saw it.
I can't believe. At some point, you'll have to watch the rest of the movie.
No, I will never watch it. I swear to God, I had a friend at work who we don't really have the same movie opinion, but we talk about movies. And he was like, I saw Super Troopers 2. I thought it was pretty funny. I was like, I walked out with 30 minutes in. He was like, honestly, dude, after the first 30 minutes, I think it got a lot better. I was like, fuck you.
Well, who knows? It could have ended up in your top 10 best films of the year after that.
Well, maybe. Well, I guess we'll never know.
The world may never know. All right, and my number one least favorite film of the year is the aforementioned Happy Time Murders.
Oh, Rob, just give it a chance.
Always give a movie a chance.
I knew this was going to absolutely stink. And it stunk.
See, here's the thing. I always get tricked by great premises, and great potential. When I see a movie has great potential, I kind of get locked into that, and I am always holding out hope, because I'm a creative person, and I appreciate creativity, and when I see an idea for a film that's creative, the idea of having this world where you have puppets and humans coexisting in this world, and you tell kind of a gritty cop thing like that, and it's a comedy, I think that is a brilliant idea for a movie, and there's so much potential of what you could do with that film. And so when I hear that, and when I see that, I log on to that, and I say, I'm really curious to know what you're going to do with that. And then, so the result is that when the movie comes out, and it sucks, just flat out, nothing redeemable, just absolute trash, it hammers it in even more, and it makes it more of a disappointment, and more of a letdown, because all I can think of is the potential that it could have had to be something excellent, and now we're probably never going to see a movie like this again. It's completely squandered. When, if you had the right script, and the right director, and the right cast, you could have made an awesome movie with the same basic premise, instead of what we got. So that's what kills me. Sometimes I can I'll always hold on to the hope of what a movie could be, And it just makes it even more disappointing and even more of a letdown when that great creative premise goes to complete waste.
This is a movie that has been in development for like 10 to 15 years almost, and it was originally supposed to star Jamie Foxx as the Melissa McCarthy lead, and it started out as just being like an actual like crime drama with puppets, and then it transitioned.
That could have been cool.
And then it transitioned into comedy, and you get segments of both in this movie. I feel like, but it just felt like a hodgepodge of all these different ideas shoved into one movie that did not work at all.
I don't mind it being a comedy. The problem for me is that even though it's an R-rated film, this was made for 12-year-olds.
Agreed.
This was literally...
But 12-year-olds can't even see it, so that's the problem. It's the same thing with a lot of movies.
You could make this into a great comedy, and it would have been fun and enjoyable. But literally, like kind of like what you were saying with Super Troopers 2. Yeah. Lowest common denominator, lowest humor possible, like literally just pure, like, hey, look, boobs. That's funny. Get it, boobs.
I don't know.
Look, puppets are having sex.
I know you laughed at the scene in the trailer or whatever when he like.
Well, yeah, the first time I saw it,
from there, I knew this thing was gonna stink.
The first time I saw that scene, it was funny for the first time, and then I saw it in every other trailer, and when I see it in the movie, and that's the best gag they have in the actual
where,
movie.
Like, the octopus is milking the cow. Come on.
They had a good idea of a premise for a film, and they had nothing else.
The one scene I did chuckle at was when the brother of the main puppet was like in the hot tub, and like they sent that dog in, and he like tore him to shreds. That was the one scene that I liked. Other than that,
the comedy was just, it was so low. I honestly feel like they were like, let's make this movie that 12-year-old boys are gonna love. And they made that movie, and they made it R because, that's what they're going to like, but even though 12-year-olds can't see it.
Exactly.
That's
why it made no money.
If we were 12 when we saw this movie, I feel like we would have been like, oh yeah, happy time money.
And you have two lead characters, and not one of them is likable or redeemable in any way, in my opinion. Melissa McCarthy is horrendous in this movie. Yes. She needs to talk about stopping comedy. She needs to stop doing comedy. Yeah, oh my god! Because she's a pretty good actor, but this is horrendous. And stop working with your husband too while we're at it. He was in the movie too.
Great, love it. And
they wasted. They absolutely wasted Stanley Yelnats. Was that his last? No, that was that Stanley Yelnats was from Holes. Stanley Hudson.
Where did you pull that one out of?
From Holes. Yeah. Stanley Hudson. They wasted Stanley Hudson.
Leslie David Baker.
Stanley Hudson.
Pretzel Day. Pretzel.
But on Pretzel Day,
everything's all right. Did I stutter? Yeah, no, they wasted him. Maya Rudolph was
Joel McHale was horrendous. Oh my god, he was so bad. Oh my god,
I sat in that theater. I know I did not make a single noise. I didn't laugh. I didn't chuckle. I think I might have smirked once. I think there was one time where not even a full smile, half of my lips somewhat smirked and went upwards into a smirk, and that happened like once or twice. This movie was absolutely atrocious.
Thank God this one didn't make money. Excuse me. This was. Oh, if we had to see another one of these, Jesus, probably never will.
It would probably be called Happy Time Murders Resurgence or some bullshit like that.
Christ. And like, I hope they don't take this and they're like, oh, movies with puppets can't work, because I loved those Muppet movies that came out a couple years ago.
And I think there is a place for an adult puppet movie, and I haven't seen it.
I feel like
they've made it in the past.
Yeah, but
Peter Jackson made
but that movie didn't make any money.
Well, it didn't make money.
I just don't feel like there's it could be good. I honestly don't feel like there's that big of an audience. I think even when adults see puppets, even if it's an art, I think they're just like, whatever. I don't think they care. Like, people like us, that would be interested.
Well, and I think people are less inclined to go see one now after Happy Time. If you made one that was awesome, and it was... if it was a comedy, if the humor was incredible and it worked on all levels, or if it was just a straight crime drama and it was just awesome, but it was with puppets and they used it well, and it didn't feel like a gimmick or whatever, if they made one really well, I think it could do well.
Maybe.
Or at least it would do well enough that they would make
yeah.
another one, and then that one could do well. So I just, oh god, this movie was a mess. I want to stop talking about it before like my blood pressure goes through the roof thinking about this piece of shit. In my opinion. I know there's some people out there who love Happy Time Murders, and if you do, power to you.
I know one.
Anyways, so that was our least favorite films of 2018. Once again, just to round it off, Rob, why don't you tell us what your list is?
All right. Cheese, a gallon of milk, a loaf of bread. Oh, that's my grocery list. Sorry. My honorable mention number 3 is Hunter Killer, 2 Mile 22, and 1 Aquaman. And then my least favorite films is 5 Venom, 4 Slender Man, 3 The Week Of, 2 Happy Time Murders, and 1 Super Troopers 2.
Okay. For my least favorite films of the year, dishonorable mentions, number 3 was Upgrade, number 2 was Game Night, number 1 was Aquaman, and then my 5 through 1 was number 5 was Uncle Drew, number 4 was Venom, number 3 was Slender Man, number 2 was Hotel Artemis, and my number 1 worst or least favorite film of 2018 was The Happy Time Murders. So that is our least favorite films of 2018 as part of our wrapping up 2018 editorial series. Once again, I am your host, Nathanael Molnár, and Rob Giachinta, our co-host. Thanks for being here.
Hey, you win some, you lose some.
Yep. We lost a lot this year with the least favorite films of 2018. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe for more content, and be sure to follow us on all of our various social medias at Movie Paradise 99. And all of our wrapping up 2018 lists they're up on YouTube. They're also available on Spotify and iTunes. You can search them under the Movie Paradise podcasts. So until we talk about the next part in our wrapping up 2018 editorial series, thanks for listening.